Hi, everyone. I'm Cindy Whitney, wishing you a happy 2021 and welcoming you to this episode of Discovering Laguna Woods. I want to start this year by talking to someone who is a very inspiring member of our community. She's someone who is always doing interesting things, and in doing so, she makes our lives a lot more interesting too. So stay right there, and I will be back speaking with the always interesting Pat Wilkinson. Stay right there. Oh, hi, Pat. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too, Cindy.
Thank you
Nice
so
to be
much.
here.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be speaking to you. You know, I have admired you from afar for all of the 6 years that I've lived in Laguna Woods. I think I began to notice your work in your beautiful and elegant photographs. What I noticed was that you have an energy in your photos that, you know, I can see when I look at things, but I can't seem to capture on my smartphone, and you do a beautiful job. The next awareness that I had of you was your involvement in the History Center in the 50th anniversary. I learned so much about my new hometown because of the beautiful additions that you made to that book as well. And then most recently, I live near the creek and I walk that path all the time, and I never really knew as much as I know now because of you. You took the time to, you know, you and Jean Lustig, you know, took the time to research and put this all together. And my question to you is, have you always been like this? Have you always found some things of interest and then said, I really need to share this with other people? Have you always been like that?
Yeah, as much as possible, you know, in the last 25 years that I've been involved with a computer, that's made a big difference as far as sharing goes. But I've always taken pictures. From the time I was a little girl, my dad was a very good photographer. And so he gave me a camera, I think when I was 8 or 10 years old, and a Brownie, of course, that's what was around in those days. And so I've kind of been the family photographer ever since, on both sides of my husband's family and my family. So, in fact, I'm in the middle of putting a lot of those pictures together in video so I can upload them on YouTube. Otherwise, they're going to get forgotten. So that's one of my projects for now and for next year. I still have a lot of pictures to do. So,
But you like to archive things too. I think you know, so that they can be shared with other people. And one of the other things that I noticed is on Pinterest, you have sort of curated a number of tutorials and things that will benefit other people. In other words, you can learn something specific. I mean, because if any of us go on Pinterest, you know, we can be there for hours and hours and hours, but you've curated these things so that they're specific to a particular, because it's like a semester of photography. So I'm just so grateful that you take the time to do. That's what I mean by, you know, you're learning something, but you always want to share it with other people. That's a wonderful talent. Thank you.
And it gives them something to have too. You know, very often we go through. In fact, I just sent a friend of mine, Barbara Marsh, a picture that I had taken of her art exhibit in the art studio many years ago. So it was her birthday, so I sent that to her. And so I can share a lot that way with my friends and family, you know, remembering a past time that we had together. So I always had a camera around my neck.
That's amazing. I bet people are so grateful for that because, you know, in the moment, people don't think to capture things. They're just busy having fun and enjoying it. And to have someone that's there archiving those things it's so special.
Well, that's where we saw each other. I think the last time was at the History Center 50th anniversary. I was taking pictures of that too. In fact, that's up on YouTube someplace. I don't know where it is, but so that's one of my pet projects.
Yes, and your other involvement with the History Center, do you participate in some of the other events that they have there, or the
Well, I was on the board. I was on the board for quite a while, and then of course I worked with Bob Ring when he was the president of the Historical Society. It was called then, and when we worked on the history book, which was a 2-year project actually, And a lot of it was done in Bob's garage on a very, yeah, that's it. That was the picture that he decided was the one he wanted to use. And from there on, I did a lot, a good part of the book of the photography.
Yeah,
So
that's
we worked on a very hard stool in his garage those 2 years. So, but it was a big project. So, and but it was fun. It's done very well. We ended up doing 1,000 copies, which we hadn't planned on, but anyway, that's what we ended up doing. And I don't know, there's a couple hundred left, I think, but that's all. So we did well.
That was going to be one of my questions is that book still available? I know people can probably go over to the History Center and look at it there, but because beyond Laguna Woods, it gives you a nice history and a sense of Southern California. And also it takes you back in time to understand how visionary the founders of this village were. They imagined us being a very active over 55 community, and not just sitting in our homes, but given opportunities, the arts, that we could be creative.
He was a very phenomenal developer with seniors in mind, and his first development was in Long Beach, but it was just housing. In fact, Ron and I lived in one of his first developments, but then he started the Seal Beach Leisure World, and then this one came next. But there's 6 or 7 of them, I think, around the country. And his dream, this one is probably the only one that has really survived pretty much in the way that he had established it. So, but he was a remarkable man, and he loved trees. That's why we have so many trees in here. So we had 56,000 trees that he had planted. So.
That's amazing. Well, it is. It truly is. When I tell people Laguna Woods, they say, well, are there woods there? And I say they are everywhere. There is all sorts of different vegetation. And what you've done is you've taken the time to help us understand and appreciate some of the unique trees that we have. Are they indigenous to California or somewhere else? Are they just decorative?
Well, we have trees from every country in the world.
That's remarkable.
So he made sure that happened too. So that was pretty neat.
It was. And, thanks to you, I always know where the equator is because of the pine. You said it's always pointing 8 degrees to the equator. So I can, it's just these sort of fun facts and interesting things about the things around us that, if we don't know about them, we just walk right past them. So thank you for that. And the monkey puzzle tree, my grandsons are going to have a very interesting time next time they visit me, because I'm going to be so informed about our nature walk now.
Well, the monkey puzzle is a unique tree too. And that kind of, that's not its botanical name, obviously, but that's what people looked at it, and that's what they decided it would be difficult for a monkey to figure out. So,
exactly.
So we have a beautiful one between 2 golden rain trees and Alicia, off Alicia Creek. So that's the one that's in their book, or in the tree guide. So it's a pretty one.
Well, there's so much for us to appreciate here. Now, some of the other things that you've been involved in, the Cat Club. I know your love of cats.
Missy's in here someplace.
Oh, Missy's here. Okay.
So she was sitting right in front of me for about 20 minutes while I was trying to work on a project. And
she's so quiet. She did make an appearance. She went right behind you there, and you didn't even know it. So.
Anyway, but the Cat Club came into being. My husband passed away 4.5 years ago, and a couple of months after he died, I found Missy on the Cat Club website. So I knew the gal who was running it at that time. So I emailed her at 4:00 in the morning and said, I want Missy, please. So
she's beautiful.
A couple days later, she was mine. So, but she's
beautiful.
Got me playing, I'll tell you that. And she curls up with me every night in the crook of my armpit.
My goodness. And did she just have a birthday?
Yeah, she did yesterday. And but because of her, I got involved with the club. And so this year has been a little different, obviously, but
Yes.
previous to this year, when we got a new cat in, I would, and we set them into a foster home, then I would go and photograph them and take anywhere from 100 to 200 pictures and then make a video of them, a short one, just a minute or two, which gives the cat's personality so much better than if it was just a static picture. So and that in fact, right now I'm doing all the adopted cats that we did this year and putting them into a video so that everybody can see them and celebrate them, and they'll go on the website too. And that's the other thing I do is I do websites. So this one I put together about 2 years ago now. So it's the first one I've done in about 5 years. So it was a little bit different than what it used to be, but it's still fun and it works. So there's a lot of information on it that
You were so ahead of your time. I have to share my one little cat club story with you. When I first arrived here, I was, calling different clubs and so forth to ask them if I could come over and, interview them and tape them and put them on the air. And so I called up the cat club and so I told her that I wanted to come over with the camera crew. And she said, well, what is it that you want to do? And I said, well, when you have your meetings and everybody brings in their cats, I said, we could come in. And she was quiet for a minute and she said, you don't have cats, do you? I said, no, is it that obvious? She said, yes. I said, what's what the dogs do?
So dogs work a little better.
I know.
Lisa had Bev and I, the president of the cat club. Lisa had us on Channel 6 a couple of times. The last time I brought Missy, and she was sitting in her carrier, but she watched the whole thing with her sticking her head out of her carrier.
No kidding.
Lisa wanted a cat so badly, but we decided it would be easier if I just brought Missy rather than one of the adopted. So
yes.
Anyway, that was a fun experience, and
yes.
So I enjoy doing that. We have a good board and a good group of girls, and it's been a successful club for many years. We have our 50th anniversary coming up. Actually, it's been established. Next year. Kidding. It will be 50 years here in the village, so it's been around a long time.
That's remarkable. Well, cats are such a comfort. And especially here, especially this year too, when you think about how we've been indoors so much, to have the comfort of a wonderful, loving pet animal friend.
Besides, you gotta have somebody to talk to. You don't have anybody else but yourself, so it's nice to have.
I know.
I talk to her like she was my husband.
Yeah.
A little crazy, but it works.
Oh, sure, of course.
Yeah. So, and the other thing I got involved with back in the early 2000s was the camera club. So, and that and the emeritus classes for photography, I've taken those over the years. And then I got kind of hogtied into becoming president of the camera club in 08 and 09. And so that was an experience, considering I am not a professional photographer like many of the people in the club are. So, but anyway, it was an honor and I enjoyed it. So, and I'm still involved with them.
Well, I'm sure that you're saying that you don't have that credential. You do have a credential in that you've been doing it for so long. You have experience with all of the the early cameras that you were working with and understanding how they work, and you've evolved along with them. And I'll bet you could make my iPhone take pictures that I could only dream of. But people also they underappreciate, I guess, the camera club and what it does over there, because you can restore photos, and there's so many things that they will help you with and teach you to take portraits, and so many other things that people really yearn to be able to know how to do. And it's right here. People so willing to help.
We have a wonderful app, and where you can actually print and mount your pictures. So that we have an actual photo studio, portrait studio, that we did actually when I was president. And then we have a small teaching room that for just 10 people and with computers, both Apple and PCs. So, and again, it was established in 66, no, 65. So
Imagine.
it's been around since the beginning too. And in fact, they did a lot of the early photography that we used in the book. Some of the old stuff that from the camera people, so or the camera club people. So they there's some wonderful clubs in here that have been around a long, long time. Just say a lot
Yes.
about how successful the community is and the people that are involved in it that create these wonderful clubs. So
So I want to know a little bit about you. We know a lot of the interests that you have and the skills that you have. I mean, what draws you to those things? What drives you to do those things? How do you remain interested in things? What's your secret, I guess?
I don't know. There isn't anything that I'm really not interested in. My sister and I started a business back in 75 for interior and exterior landscaping. In fact, we used to do the whole Disneyland complex. So that was a major contract we got. And so we did that for 5 years and then we sold it and then turned the company into an interior design company, which I left in 86, I guess, but my sister kept it for many, many years. She lives in here too. And so that was and then I got into floral design and I worked for both my daughters for different things and did some traveling, doing trade shows and blah, blah, blah. Then we retired and went up to the local mountains to a town called Twin Peaks, which is right near Blue Jay and Lake Arrowhead. And so I continued doing floral design up there and I had my things in stores and did trade shows and blah, blah, blah. So that was kind of what I did until we moved here. And then I got involved with working for my daughter who just started a .com in 99. And that's when I really got into the computer and Photoshop and all that kind of business. So that was kind of my the history of what
Well,
I've been doing.
I
Entrepreneurial, you might say.
Well, it is. It's exactly that. It's sort of there's a flow from, I think you like challenges for one thing. I think you like to be challenged by something. Here's something that is new and I don't know
Yeah.
about it yet. I want to learn about it. And then you build that into the things that you're already interested in. And you sort of move from that to the next level of it and so on and so forth. But along the way, just an example of those wonderful videos and tutorials that you've set aside for people to learn. You want to share that information with other people. It's not something that you just want to hold on to yourself. You want other people to benefit from your learning and your finding these interesting things out. So you want to share those things with everyone. It's almost as though you're an educator. You want to other people to benefit from things that you've found. So that's a wonderful quality.
Some of my Picasso pictorials are still up on the website, and that goes back a long time.
Wow.
They don't even Google dumped that a few years ago, but I still use Picasso all the time, and it's a simple editing program, but it's good, it works, and that was one of the ones I used to teach too.
No
But
kidding.
yeah, been some fun stuff. And I got involved with Opera 100 when I first came. And then the Philharmonic Association was another thing I got involved. I was on the boards of both of those. And I did a lot of politics in here, built a lot of websites for different political groups that we put together for issues that were going on. So it's been a busy 23 years.
Busy all the time. Do you think that being busy like that and being involved in things keeps you young and keeps you stimulated? Because you really are. You're very not only are you interesting, but you're interested, and you you're always looking at things and asking questions about it. You have a very curious mind. And I'm just wondering, is that something that you just enjoy doing, or you're naturally that way?
Well, I'm 85 and I'm still
Amazing.
want to be involved. So I think a lot of us reach an age where we get kind of tired and maybe we just want to sit back and cool it. But I'm doing less than I used to do, but I don't want to give anything up yet. So it keeps me young.
Yes, it does. It does. And may I ask how many years you've been in Laguna Woods?
Be 24 years this coming year. So
My goodness.
yeah. So,
Well,
yeah, we very happily moved here. So my husband got involved with golf and tennis, and I got involved with the Philharmonic and Opera 100 and building websites.
well, it's fantastic. And I know it's kind of challenging to think about it. With what we have a little bit of unknowns left for this year, 2021.
Yeah.
But are there things that you're looking forward to doing, or have you modified a little bit in your plans for doing things this year, or what do you foresee?
Well, pretty much what I've been doing. So I have tons of files on political stuff that I'm putting together to give over to the History Center, and lots of other things that they might want to archive. And then the rest of it is just doing videos of all the pictures of family stuff that I've gathered over the years. And I'm finishing one right now of films my father took in 1939, or actually 1935 when I was born, all the way through 1940. And we took ships. We actually were traveled to England in 1939, and we had to leave because of the war. So it kind of documents the ships during that time going back and forth. So I'm finishing that up.
So you have
My
skills.
father did in 1935.
Oh my goodness. So you have skills with video editing too. Is that what I'm understanding? Not just still photography. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's what's on YouTube. Those are all videos. So you have to, you can do the photography, put it into a slideshow, such as we used to call them, and then turns into what's called an MPEG-4, and that's what goes on YouTube. It's like what we're doing today. That will be, I'm assuming it's an MPEG-4 that PJ will put up. So anyway, it's fun, and it's fun for the cats that we bring in too, I think.
Well, what an expertise. Yeah, because I'm a member of the video club, and I have, started to learn some of the, the Corel video editing processes. And oh my goodness, just putting that screen up on your computer screen and looking at that, and it's enough to just turn it off and say, oh, okay, this is completely overwhelming. How will I know what any of these things are? There's a lot of complexity to doing these things. So I absolutely congratulate you. I guess it's just one step at a time, learn one thing, and then if you figure that out, then you can move on to the next process and learn from there. But some of those things are just very, very complex. So I congratulate you on mastering those things.
The software is so much better now and simpler than, say, it was 10 years or 15 years ago. And the video club is excellent. Lucy's a wonderful person.
Yes.
I'm assuming you know her too. So
Lucy and Tom
Lucy
and Betsy. Yep. They're all great. Yep. Yeah, it's a wonderful.
I spent a lot of time there in the old days, but I haven't gotten back, unfortunately, but that's okay. I'm easy to know.
Well, we have so many things like that, as you say, so that we can archive things. I think we all have a box or two somewhere, or more than that, of photos, or Super 8s, or DVDs, or VHS tapes, and all sorts of very outdated forms of capturing our memories at the time, and we want to transfer those, and we can do that. So before it gets too late, put those things together and leave them for someone, or enjoy them yourself, but also leave them for your family to enjoy and see.
You can do that at the PC club or at the camera lab when they finally open it up, or in the video club. Everything can be restored there. And there's another company that's local called Digital Arts Plus. And they do a wonderful job for retrieval of old video, old film and slideshows and stuff like that. So
We're very fortunate. We're very fortunate because those are the things that we seek to do now, is to leave behind. You know,
and you have grandchildren that you need to share all your life with. So
I know they're wonderful, and we do. We want to be remembered. We want people to understand the highlights of our life, and you know what we have done. And so to be able to leave something like that is wonderful. So I appreciate that you're leading the way on that and letting us know that there are a lot of different ways that we can do that. So yeah. So well, I thank you for. Is there anything that you'd like to share with us that I haven't covered? Is there anything that you'd like to say? You know what, this is a wonderful place, and here's what I would say to somebody just moving here, or you know.
I can't imagine living the rest of my life anyplace else but here. And anybody, you know, you have a choice. You can either be sedentary and stay to yourself, which many do, and then there's thousands of us that are involved in so many different clubs and organizations in here. And with running the village is a huge job. All the people who are on the board, it's there's, you know, it's another life, and everybody in here has their own story. That's the thing I always found so frustrating. You know, I'm not frustrating, wonderful, because everyone you meet has been someplace else or lived someplace else. So yes, they all have a story.
But we thank you, Pat, and we're so pleased that you could come on. I'm sorry that I only saw Missy in the background. I'm sorry that she didn't make a reappearance.
She's under my chair someplace now.
I guess they don't come when you call them like dogs do.
No,
they have a lot to learn.
Not when they want to. So anyway, no, it's been fun, Cindy. Thank you for thinking of me.
Of course, and we appreciate your time, and we look forward to all the amazing things that you are yet to do, and that we will benefit from, I know. So thank you, Pat. It's been just delightful talking to you.
Happy New Year, Happy Christmas, and Happy New Year.
Thank you so much, and same to you. Take good care. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us today as we spent some time being inspired by the ever amazing Pat Wilkinson, who gave us a lot of ideas for things to do in the upcoming year. We thank you and appreciate that you watch us every Wednesday and Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. and also on Village Television YouTube. We hope that you take good care of yourselves, continue to be kind to everyone around you, and we will see you next time and every time on Discovering Laguna Woods Village. Take good care.